It is a statement made by Kyrie Irving that popped up on our radar. Did you see this? I don't know if you saw this or not. It could be that you missed it. So I will give you the short and sweet of it because this story has taken a life of its own. Kyrie Irving has again gone back to the well. Now, he is not going to the flat earth. He's not doing that. He is publicly lobbying for Kobe Bryant to become the new NBA logo. He did this on social media, pleading his case. Says, gotta happen. I don't care what anyone says. Shocking that Kyrie wouldn't care what anyone says. But then it's the next part, which really had people say, whoa, we got a racist here. Kyrie said, black kings built the league. We'll address that racist take coming up a little bit later. But let's look at the premise that Kobe Bryant should be the logo of the NBA. We heard this about a year ago after the tragedy happened in Southern California. So the question, how should the NBA respond to Kyrie? Because it's not just Kyrie. He started this fire, but other people have jumped in, and now they're piling on top and saying, yeah, I agree with that. That's a great point. All right? So how should the NBA respond? So I've got side deal, Pandora's box, and hall pass. And we will lock all of these things together. Now, number one. On the surface, Kobe Bryant, NBA logo. Most people say, well, what's wrong with that? Who would have a problem with that? You'd be a heathen. You'd be a heathen to push back on that idea. Well, I guess it's time to buy me a gargoyle costume because I'm not on the same wavelength as Kyrie in a lot of things, but this would be another one we can put on top of the other things, the pile over there in the corner. It has been over a year. This is still a fresh wound from the sudden and traumatic nature of the demise of the Black Mamba. Kyrie Irving apparently had a very good relationship with Kobe Bryant. I don't know what happened between those two guys. Nobody really knows other than them. But this is obviously a personal crusade for Kyrie. And while I appreciate the hustle, it's not going to work. The NBA, here's what they should do. I got the perfect solution. I'm an answers guy. The NBA should make a side deal with Kyrie. And if you're Adam Silver, you say, listen, Kyrie, you want Kobe to be the logo. Here's what we're going to do, okay? You take me to the end of the flat earth. You show me where the earth, you can fall out into the cosmos. You show me that, and we will change the logo for you, all right? Done, right? Now, if Kyrie can do that, I'd be on board with this. Now, all kidding aside, though, I mean, if you're the NBA, if you're advising them from a business standpoint, you don't even consider touching this symbol. The unvarnished truth is the NBA logo has been tremendously successful, as much as a logo can be. It's instantly recognizable across continents, across oceans. That logo stands out. You cannot put a price on this. There's a term that the marketing mavens have used over the years called brand equity. And the well-known brand ends up generating even more revenue than others simply from brand recognition. So, well, it's different. It's basketball. Well, no, not really. The market research says not really. And remember that marketing is the battle of perceptions, not products. And if, for example, you look at McDonald's, very successful business in the United States, have they changed their logo, McDonald's? The golden arches. They've had some different versions of it, but the main logo has been the same. And that NBA logo was designed in 1969, and most of us know it's the silhouette of the logo. Clipper executive Jerry West driving to the basket. And as far as logos go, it's perfection. Baseball's got a good logo, too. They used Harmon Killebrew as the silhouette for that logo. But the NBA logo, stylish, it works. Now, the second thing here, when you talk about changing the NBA logo to honor Kobe Bryant, the Komodo dragon in the room is to avoid at all times being the prisoner of the moment. The NBA, here's the rub on this. The NBA would be opening Pandora's box if they were to change the logo. Now, why is that? Right? Because this would be a precedent-setting event. You say, well, it doesn't matter, but it is the slippery slope. You try to avoid the slippery slope. For example, we don't want to throw things out, but just for the purposes of this monologue, Michael Jordan is the face of the NBA in the modern era of the NBA. He is the gold standard, right? Modern era, say, since the 1980s, which is 40 years of time, Michael Jordan is the gold standard. If Michael Jordan were to meet with the Grim Reaper in a sudden, unexpected way, which we hope does not happen, obviously, would the NBA change its logo again? Right? Jordan was better than Kobe Bryant. If it's based on performance, by the way, then why not have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the most unstoppable move in all of sport, the sky hook? Have that as your NBA logo. I mean, the other point here, that if Kobe had not gotten in the helicopter and was still alive, nobody would be saying he should be the logo. So this is a direct correlation to what happened there, and the NBA should put their foot down. Now, the final part of this, we need to address the third rail, my man, the third rail. Kyrie Irving, the way I interpreted what he said, he implied that Jerry West's race is a problem with the logo, that when he used the line, Black Kings built the league, I don't know how you can interpret that any other way than being racist. I know racist is in vogue and it's trendy and all that stuff, but I roll my eyes when I hear that kind of stuff, and I see that. I mean, it's obviously, if the shoe was on the other foot, imagine if Luka Doncic had come out and said the opposite and said, well, the early NBA was a bunch of like old white guys or whatever. Oh my God, he'd be exiled. He'd be excommunicated from the NBA. Kyrie's like, I think most of us roll our eyes. But I was raised with the belief, the MLK philosophy, that you look forward, his famous quote, you look forward to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Kyrie clearly wasn't in class that day when they talked about that, or he just doesn't care about it. He's very concerned about race based on these comments. And I guess he's got a hall pass, though. Kyrie's got a hall pass here, because I'm not seeing a lot of pushback on that. I'm not seeing a lot of blowback on that Kyrie's okay here. No one's calling him out on it. But when push comes to shove, as far as the logo, the NBA will ultimately leave the primary logo alone. Now, we could see them pacifying some of the people demanding change in some other way. You can always come up with other secondary monikers if you're the National Basketball Association. But the main logo, which is Jerry West, that silhouette, untouched. It's not going to be touched. And the NBA already has renamed the All-Star MVP Award, that trophy, for Kobe Bryant. So, and I'm sure they'll do other things. So let's discuss the Showcase NBA game. It was on national TV on a Wednesday night from Salt Lake. Late start local time. The hometown Jazz playing the Lakers. And if you saw this game, I hope you watched the early part of the game, because that was the only part of the game where it was even remotely close. The Lakers had their last lead at 17-16 with about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Utah never trailed over the final 40 minutes of the game. They led by as many as 29 points. So it is time for a mini MALLER monologue, the big game in the NBA on a Wednesday night. So the question, what are the takeaways here? I watched some of the game here. What are the takeaways from the Jazz mopping the floor with the Lakers? So I've got diapers and vampire, all right? And breaking this down, make no mistake, this was an ambush situation. The Utah Jazz dominated this game with Donovan Mitchell playing pretty poorly offensively. I would say when you take 16 shots and you miss 12 of them, you're not having an all-star performance for the Jazz. He only had 13 points. Think about that. One of the top players on the Jazz. You could argue he's the number one player on the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell did almost nothing offensively. And the Utah Jazz still rained down three-pointers and won the game and laughed and mocked and ridiculed those pathetic losers from L.A. It was beautiful. This was a symphony of money balls, throwing them down, 22 three-pointers for the Jazz there. It's been this way all year. The Jazz have the best record in the NBA. They did lose to the Clippers, by the way, last week. I want to point that out. But they have won 22 of their last 24 games. Haven't lost at home since back in December. We're almost into March now. And Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert named to the All-Star team. Mike Conley should have been named to the All-Star team. Most points in the West. They're also allowing the fewest points, so they're number one defensively in that statistic. And as impressive as Mike Conley and the Jazz have been, the better story is in the losing locker room. Without Anthony Davis, the Lakers have been, say it with me now, kids, exposed as a JV squad. All right, I'm going to explain this to you like you're 6 years old. These blue chip backups that we heard so much about from the Laker media cartel are a bunch of lightweights. Anthony Davis was the backbone of that team, and none of us are surprised here. In previous episodes, we pointed out with the MALLER scale of confidence how much trouble the Lakers were and a pending implosion. They've lost 5 out of 6 now. I don't know if they can fix it. I don't know if the Lakers can fix it. It's that bad. You should have listened. And I hope they can, when they go on that plane, they travel on to their next destination, I hope they can get some of those adult diapers, because the Lakers are collectively, the team they have right now is defecating all over the court. Kyle Kuzma, I heard how good he was. He was demoted out of the starting lineup. He was back being a backup in the game Wednesday night. Talen Horton-Tucker, who got hyped up as Baby Jordan, he was in the starting lineup. How did this work out? Now, check out this. Kyle Kuzma, Horton-Tucker, and Alex Caruso, those three, right, combined to take 27 shots. They missed 21 of them in that game against Utah. Can you say suck? I think you can. Now, part B of this, mini MALLER monologue. The double trouble is the coach and the king. Frank Vogel and LeBron James are being exposed. They're being exposed. Now, Frank Vogel, the Laker media cartel, was hyping this guy up. They propped him up as some kind of X's and O's genius. Oops, a little premature on that one. A little premature. You are exposed here all of a sudden. He's had the rug pulled out from underneath him, Coach Vogel. Without the unibrow, the Lakers team is playing like some of those Orlando Magic teams that Frank Vogel had back in the day. And LeBron James, he was riding high on the hog and going to win the MVP. Can we just forget about LeBron as the MVP now? There's no way he wins the MVP, right? It would be a joke. I mean, his buddies in the NBA media kept hyping him up. Not anymore. You can forget that narrative. Put it to bed. LeBron's not the MVP. It's over. It's over. Anthony Davis wearing a sweater. And since that happened, since he started putting on sweaters and standing on the sidelines, LeBron James has been like a vampire exposed to sunlight. It has not gone well. It has not gone well. No, not that I'm, listen, I hate to see it. You hate to see a team like the Lakers that go from champions to chumps. You hate to, I guess you could say the bubble burst, right? The bubble burst with Anthony Davis out. And he's so fragile. You're getting the full Anthony Davis experience. This is the guy they had in New Orleans. All right. There is no guarantee he comes back. There is no guarantee that Anthony Davis comes back. And if he does come back, he's still a ticking time bomb. That's the player that you acquired. You're getting the full experience right now.